Please just put the chat feature, put your name. I mean, your name is already in there, your title, and also the organization that you're going to be representing at Clean Sweep. And we will be allotting for Q&A. Up above, it says you'll see you can zoom in and out on who the speaker is when you're talking in that respect too. So again, let's make sure you put that. Next slide. Okay, so this is our agenda. We're going to do our welcome, which I just did. We're going to give an overview of our clean sweeps, talking about clean sweeps, our COVID guidelines. We're going to review clean sweeps. And listen, I just let the cat out of the bag. Our partnership with Harvard University, actually Harvard and Bloomberg Philanthropies, we're going to let them talk a little bit about their organization and what they're doing and how they've been helping us. They've been working with the city of Buffalo in many different ways and just excited about the partnerships. And then we're going to talk about next steps, the date, all of those different things, and how we're going to do clean sweeps. Okay, next. It's always important when you undertake a venture like this or a program like this that we have a reiteration of our public value. Our public value, some people will call it a mission statement, vision statement. Our public value is why we do the things that we do. How do we do it? This is important so that a lot of times when we are doing things because we're doing engagement, we're out doing so many different things. It's just important when we speak about our public value is to kind of talk about that, understand that. And this is something that, again, I've worked in my department to make sure that we do have this public value. It says we commit to tackle neighborhood decline as it relates to blight and quality life because we want to create a safe and healthy community with equity of opportunity. We propose to do that by identifying common needs, empowering residents on a parcel by parcel strategy. We will know that we are successful when there's improvement in housing, health, and community engagement. And so that's our public value. And so it's important to understand that we are all striving to that public value, but how we go into a community, how we are engaging in the community, that people understand that, right? So that we can build capacity within that community. And so we can make those connections. And so as we go into the community, we're starting and it's a clean sweep in so many different ways. And so that's our public value. And so I just wanted to reiterate that, talking about that. There are some of the things that are just obvious. We're talking about what's happening in our neighborhoods, and we're talking about the issue of equity. We're talking about engagement, and using a restorative approach is just very, very important. In our respective departments and organizations. Next slide. Overview. How do we get to that point? Operation Clean Sweeps brings together city, state, and federal partners, as well as community-based agencies in conjunction with local health and human service providers, community groups, and we leveraging non-traditional, innovative approaches to improving overall quality of life to promote an even stronger sense of community engagement and involvement. Residents know that by working together with local government, community-based organizations, they are important force to improving and maintaining integrity of communities in which they work and live. So the important piece here is that leveraging non-traditional, innovative approaches to improve the overall quality of life and promote even a stronger sense of community regarding with engagement and involvement. We do this three-prong approach, right? Community outreach and education, which I can't say enough for all of the community partners, all of our city partners in terms of the outreach and education. Each one of you, whether it be health or jobs or information, have information to give, but to make those connections. We use the analogy sometimes when we go into where there's smoke, there's fire. There's one thing, and maybe some other things. There's issues. We talk about causation, right? And so the community outreach and education is very important. Data collection and outcomes. And so we all know if you haven't done a clean sweep, we're collecting information and data. And we're going to talk a little bit about that too, but it's very important that we take that information and that data allows us to make decisions, data to decisions. both on a macro level and on a micro level in terms of what we're doing and how we're going about doing that. Whether it is with inspection or a housing unit, or whether it is with dealing with this quality of life issues, it's important to understand what's out there. And so that by collecting that data, knocking on doors or observing and making that information, I call it as like you're on the ground. I call it community quality life intelligence, right? That we're getting, and it's important. You can't do that by sitting in an office. You can't do that by sitting in City Hall or in your building. You just have to get out. And that is a stalwart, that is one of the stalwarts of clean sweeps and our engagement from the city of Buffalo. We also work and do beautification and restoration. Well, what do we mean by that? Let's take beautification. Beautification allows and talks about so many different things, whether it is the physical beautification or restoration of a community, whether it be trimming trees or fixing a stop sign, a crooked stop sign. I have a pet peeve regarding that. Potholes or vacant lots or that, and then restoring it. Not replacing, but restoring it. We bet on people that they know what's happening in the community, whether it be volunteers or block clubs or organizations there. So that beautification and restoration, that intervention that happens along with the outreach is an important mix. It speaks to the community well-being, of what's happening in the community. And so I want to say, probably can't say thank you enough for that. We've been doing this in a successful way. And so every year we tinker with it and we make it better because we collect the information and data that allows us to do that. And so we have some tremendous partners here that we're working with to make sure that we understand more about what's happening in communities, and we understand about the equity of effort in terms of some communities more than not. We understand that pandemic or all of the other challenges they have, some communities have been disproportionately affected. And so we're going to disproportionately affect some communities by making a difference and engaging in those communities. So next slide. Here, we talk about listening to the community. We talk about learning from the data, and we're talking about shaping strategies together. I already mentioned it, listening to the communities by engaging before and after. We have tremendous partners who are in the communities, working under the backbone of organizations, community-based organizations, not-for-profits, block clubs, which are a backbone in what we're doing. Then what we're going to do, we're going to learn from the data. I talked a little bit about this earlier. Again, on a micro and a macro level, maybe we have to pivot and turn. Maybe it's going back the next day, maybe it's following back up, sending this information to community departments, but also sending this information to you so that you can pivot and make a difference in that community, and then working together as we shape strategies, as we meet in the morning, and then we're meeting afterwards, and then following back up, and how we be able to do all of that too. So our next slide, and I'm going to let Colin, Colin, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Hi, everybody. For those of you who I already know, hello again. And for those who I have not met yet, my name's Colin Masca. I'm an AmeriCorps Vista with the Division of Citizen Services. And I've been working with Oswaldo for the past, I don't know, since August. So I got my feet wet with Clean Sweep 2.0, and now I'm ready to take the full dive for a full Clean Sweep season. So I'm going to go over what this is going to look like during COVID-19. Obviously, we all know how COVID-19 impacted us during Clean Sweep 2.0 and how we had to readjust the way that we did community engagement. And regardless of vaccinations or not, there's still a huge impact of COVID-19. And the last thing that we want to do is put the health and safety at risk of our community partners, of community members, of our City Hall partners. So we're still going to be taking this very seriously, and we're going to still be very careful when we're doing this. So to reiterate, due to COVID-19, we are continuing to adjust the way that we interact with others. So we're not really going to have large team groups. We're still going to try and keep it into small clean sweep platoons, if that's what you want to call them. Direct and close contact between others, that's also going to be pretty much eliminated. And communication without protection. So you're going to have your PPE, so masks and most likely hand sanitizer with you during the clean sweep. During clean sweep when we go to the locations. This is just to maintain, like I said, the safety of us and also the safety of all the community members, which is absolutely paramount. So, what do we still know about? Ooh,
Was there a question? I'm sorry.
yeah,
Okay. We're gonna hold the questions. I thought I heard somebody said question. Okay, sorry about
no worries. So what do we still know about COVID-19? The updated community outreach guidelines that follow have been constructed around the knowledge that long-lasting interactions increase the spread of COVID-19, especially when those long-lasting interactions are unmasked and closer than 6 feet. And social distancing, face masks, frequent hand washing, outdoor exposure can reduce the risk of COVID-19. So that last little bullet point is basically what we're going to be working with moving forward for this clean sweep season. We're still going to be wearing our masks. We're still going to be putting on hand sanitizer, and we're still going to be maintaining. We're still going to be socially distant within our groups that are going door to door, and then when we're at the door, we're still also going to maintain our social distance when we talk to residents. So we'll go to the next slide here. So clean sweep preparation. In similar fashion to what we did for clean sweep 2.0, we are going to have pre-clean sweep meetings held virtually on the Citizen Services WebEx. That may change depending on how things how things move forward with combating COVID-19 and the clean sweep season. But as of right now, we're still going to be holding these pre-meetings virtually on WebEx. So we're going to be working in smaller groups on location. If you recall last season at Clean Sweep 2.0, we had very small groups that conducted the clean sweeps. We're not going to have that same size. We're probably going to go a little bit bigger than that. But still, we're not trying to have massive groups coming into communities, regardless of mask or vaccination. It can be a little intimidating, especially during COVID-19. So we're going to just try and ensure that we maintain, like I said, the health and safety of all the residents. So bring your face masks, hand sanitizer to location, and if possible, travel in your own car. If that's not a possibility for you and you need to carpool, just make sure that you wear your mask in the car. And if the weather is nice, keep those windows down, just so that we don't, create little mini clean sweep super spreader. I don't think anybody would like that. So this little important note right here, regardless of vaccination, please wait 2 weeks before participating in clean sweep. If you have been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, if you develop symptoms, please wait 2 weeks after your symptoms resolve before returning to a clean sweep, just to ensure the utmost safety for everybody involved.
So let me just add with that, it's going to be important. We're going to be tracking attendance for clean sweeps. So we're going to do our own kind of contact tracing on our end. So whoever comes to clean sweeps, we're going to make sure that we need your name and information. Although there have been quite a few people who have been vaccinated, we still want to be mindful about those who have not yet, been vaccinated as well too. Thank you.
Yep, exactly. Thank you for that, Director Mestry. So here are the guidelines. They're very similar to the ones that we had last season. But the difference is that these are going to be a little bit more subject to change depending on how things are looking moving forward in the future. So regardless of whether you are vaccinated or not, we will all be following these guidelines. We will wear face masks at all times to protect each other's health. We will maintain 6 feet of distance from each other when going door to door. So even in our groups ourselves, we're going to try and maintain as much distance as we can from each other. Before and after ringing a doorbell or knocking, we will use hand sanitizer. When engaging with a resident for the first time, in addition to explaining clean sweep, please also explain how the clean sweep team is working to reduce the risk of infection by wearing masks, using hand sanitizer, and practicing social distancing. Only one person from each team should be at a resident's porch or stoop at the time. The rest of the team should maintain 6 feet of distance from the sidewalk or driveway until it is their turn to speak with the residents. So it'll kind of be like a revolving door, people who are community partners, city hall officials, and everyone else who are speaking with residents at the door. We don't want to crowd their doorway and have a lot of people there, all really close together, especially during COVID. When possible, residents should stay within their homes and talk with the clean sweep team through their front door. That's if they're able to do that. And so usually, I mean, from last year, they would grab a mask and we were okay to go. And even if a community partner says, oh, it's okay, I'm vaccinated, you don't need to wear your mask, please keep your mask on, and explain to them once again why we're doing this and who we're representing. Um, obviously, it's great that more and more people are getting vaccinated, but we still think it's pretty important to maintain our safety and the safety of residents as much as possible by practicing all of the COVID-19 guidelines that have been implemented for the past year or so. So now I'm going to quickly go over last season's Clean Sweep, as I've mentioned it so much. So we launched Clean Sweep 2.0 on September 24th with the goal of maintaining the health and safety of our community partners and community members while also actively engaging in the community. We basically felt that we had to conduct some sort of clean sweep because COVID-19 had exacerbated pre-existing problems in communities throughout Buffalo. So we felt that it was pretty much necessary to do a clean sweep to provide resources to community members that have been most impacted by COVID-19. We also recognized the serious health and safety precautions needed to be taken during this process. So during Clean Sweep 2.0, we were able to complete 7 clean sweeps, and 2 of which were Love Your Block clean sweeps. We also were able to hand out over 350 bags of literature throughout Clean Sweep 2.0, which is pretty awesome considering that we were really only able to do 7 clean sweeps that season. So we were still able to reach a pretty large number of people, which is always a good thing. So these are just the locations that we went to. I'll give you guys a brief rundown if you don't remember. So our first one was on Poplar Avenue in the Lovejoy district. The second one we did was East Street in the North District, followed by Armbruster Street in the Fillmore District, followed by Lewis Street, also in the Fillmore District, Herkimer Street in the Niagara District, and that was a Love Your Block clean sweep, which was really, really fun. Lauren Avenue in the Maston District, which was also another Love Your Block clean sweep. And then that picture on the first slide was from our last clean sweep on Minnesota Avenue in the University District. So, I mean, although we weren't able to do a full clean sweep cycle, we were all still really, really pleased that we were able to complete 7 clean sweep 2.0s, given the circumstances of which we were in. So that was a pretty good accomplishment for what was going on. So we're really proud of that, and we couldn't have done it without you guys. And we're really excited moving forward to try and, get back to at least doing more clean sweeps like we normally would do during the season. So I think everyone here has the same level of excitement. We're all ready to go. So I'm going to pass this back off to Director Mestry to go over our partnership with Harvard, if he's there.
Ooh. I am here, Colin. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Good. Excited to talk about this partnership that we have with Harvard University. More specifically, they'll talk to you about Harvard is a big institution, but we're working specifically with a particular department. For the upcoming clean sweeps, we're going to be partnering again with Harvard. Our partnering centers around data collection using the methodology of quality of life and community wellness survey. Our aim is to track and locate certain frequency blight impact of COVID, social economic inequities, and it's talking about our communities in general. We have an overall bigger partnership that we've been working with Harvard through our City Rise initiative, as well as we've been working with them to work with inspections to do proactive rental inspections, as well as looking at an equity dashboard. So just excited about the partnership, but I'm more excited about how that helps us pinpoint services for a community. And so what I'm going to do, and I know both Ashley and Eleanor, who is our point people for that. I know they're on. I'm just going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, but talk a little bit about our partnership. So, Eleanor?
Great. Thank you so much, Director Mestry. It's great to be speaking with all of you this morning. As Director Mestry, my name is Eleanor Dickens, and I'm a research fellow with Harvard University with the Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative. And I do have a couple of slides to share with you all today. I'm not sure if it would be possible, Colin, to make me co-host, and then I could share them with all of you this morning.
We will do that.
Great, thank you so much.
Our co-host right now.
Oh, great.
So you can just share.
Share. Ah, this is great. Perfect. So hopefully you all should be able to see my screen now, and I'll go ahead and begin the slideshow so that it looks a bit nicer. Okay, great. And is it coming through all right, Director Mestry?
It is. It is.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So as I mentioned, this is my name. I'll also put my email address in the chat as well. It's been really wonderful getting the opportunity to work so far with the Division of Citizen Services, getting to work with Director Mesre, getting to work with Colin, getting to work with several of the other AmeriCorps Vista members who we've had the opportunity to meet and work with so far. And as Director Mestre mentioned, the Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative has been working for quite a few years now with the city of Buffalo, and it's been a great pleasure on our end to get to continue engaging, especially as we look forward to this clean sweep. So I have a couple of slides, and some of it will be review based on what has already been presented, but I wanted to talk first about the data-driven, we've spoken a lot about the data collection that we are going to be doing on this season of Clean Sweep, and how all of you play a very important role in that. And so ultimately what we're trying to do with this partnership is to understand the data that we have about the different neighborhoods that we're going to be going into, so that we can hone the services that we're providing, so that they're the most, as Director Mestre mentioned, so that they're the most equitable as they can be, that they're given to the areas with need, and that it's also proportional to the need that is actually there. Are we providing the right services to the citizens in those neighborhoods? So we've talked a little bit already about crime and blight. As you all know, I don't have to tell you this, as very integral members to the Clean Sweep program. What we're working on in this initiative is reduction in crime and reduction in blight. And this is just some information about how blight contributes to individuals' feelings of health and safety, which I know I don't have to explain this to you all. But essentially what we're looking at whenever we are talking about clean sweeps and in looking at the data that we're trying to collect on the clean sweeps that are being done every week, is so that we can understand how is blight being reduced, exactly which trees are being trimmed, which sidewalks are being repaired, which signs are being repaired, which reports are being made to the city about code violations. All of these things really help us to gain a holistic picture of the neighborhood and how the clean sweep is being directed to each resident within. And so here we just included a couple more photos from past clean sweeps, which I'm looking forward to having lots more photos after this next round of clean sweeps. So as you all know, again, I don't have to tell you this, but with our goal to be to eliminate blight and foster those block level community connections, just as Director Mestre said, because the community knows what they need. The best way to understand how we can be providing better services to the community is to be in close discussion and collaboration with the block club and with the residents. And so you all play a really integral part in that. And so what we also wanted to share is the data-driven approach that we've taken to figuring out where we actually go in a clean sweep, because this helps to kind of frame the data that we're going to be collecting for the season of clean sweeps. So we've been working with an organization called Ptolemy to collect a lot of data, both on what we know at the parcel level, what we know at the resident level, and then also what we know at the census level. And so we have information on census block characteristics like low income population, unemployment rate, housing cost burden, the proportion of income that's spent on housing costs, both rent and utilities, and then police incidents, property sales, code violations, and some other data that we have as well. And so the way that we have all of these areas that we're going to be going in and doing the clean sweeps on this season, as you all know. And so how did we choose those areas? So essentially, especially these questions might come up whenever if people might be asking, basically we're going where the data is telling us. And so whenever we chose these areas, whenever we looked at these neighborhoods, we found where's the data telling us to go? Where are the areas that have the highest need to receive a clean sweep? And so how you all can help us out to continue with this data-driven approach that we're taking is that we're going to be collecting data on each clean sweep and information on all of the parcel level interactions that we have and the neighborhood level interactions that we have, so that we can pinpoint services for communities for future years. And so where does this come in with you all? So we have block sheets, as you all remember from previous years. And what we're going to be doing this year, we both have the opportunity to fill those out electronically through Iris, and we'll be creating a login for each of your organizations so that you can access those. And then we'll also have paper versions available as well in case there are glitches with the technology. And so what is so integral to this data-driven approach that we're taking is that we have information on every resident and every property that we interact with. And so even if you just leave information at a doorstep, even if somebody doesn't answer, it's super important, for this data-driven approach that we're taking to have information on that. So if you all can, I know that you've been doing this for years, but continue to do the great work that you've been engaged with filling out those walk sheets. If you're talking with a resident, if you make a referral, and then if you provide a service even outside of the residential area, fixing a sidewalk, fixing a sign, trimming trees, because whenever we look at things like that in the data, we'll put that to the neighborhood level. And so that's very important. And then the other aspect that we'll ask for your all's help in, so I have a screenshot of an example of a map. So at the map that will be given the day before the clean sweep. The other aspect that will be super helpful is so that we do have information on every resident we interact with, that we follow the map as best we can. So if a property is in a clean sweep map, we try our best to include them in that, even if it's just leaving information if they don't answer the door. And then the idea is that we just interact with properties that are in the map, because the properties that are outside of the map may be receiving a clean sweep at a later date. And so we want to understand which services they're getting at that time. But we also understand, if you do need to interact with a property outside of the map, just let us know. Fill a walk sheet for those properties as well, so that we have data on that. And so that's it from my slides for now. I just want to say thank you again to everybody who, all of you who are in the line. It's such an honor to be working with you, and it's such an honor to be working with Director Mestre and Colin and the Division of Citizen Services. And so we're really excited to be working with all of you as well. And so I'll be joining the meetings every morning before we go into a clean sweep, and then also the debrief meetings as well. So I hope that you all feel, open to share with me if the walk sheets, we need to add an additional question, those things, hoping that it will be an ongoing conversation. So thank you all so much again, and I look forward to working together.
Okay. Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you very much for the presentation, but more so, thank you for the partnership. I'm excited about it. Just on a side note, we talk about the things that happen in Buffalo, and we're such a neighboring kind of this helping people out. And so letting the world know, or letting this nation know that something special is just kind of helping our neighbors out, and just doing what we do in Buffalo and examining that can be an example is just an important thing. But more so, not that, is helping us to improve our services too. So I just want to say thank you and looking forward to the continued partnership. As Eleanor talked, she's going to be with us on a weekly basis on our Zoom, on our WebExes, and she'll be available. She may poke and prod you. She may call you up and say, well, what do you mean by this and that and that? So consider her a partner, okay, along the way. And so we thank you for our continued partnership. Next slide. Colin, do you want to take the rest of it?
Sure, I can do that.
Mhm.
So we are working in tandem with both Eleanor Dickens and Ashley Marcoux from Harvard to track the data that we collect on the surveying process. Thank you again, Eleanor, for sharing that PowerPoint. That was wonderful. So our AmeriCorps Vistas have been tasked with going to communities to conduct both the surveying and outreach. So you guys will see that as we go through the Clean Sweep process. The surveying is being done on tablets that have been provided by the Division of Citizen Services. And the questions on the survey focus on community members' perceptions of their surrounding community. So basically that last thing is pretty key. We're trying to understand how community members see themselves within their own community. And by asking them particular questions about health and safety, we're hoping that we can find certain occurrences in data that we can then use in order to take action, in order to look at that data and go, okay, this is what we need to provide these communities with X, Y, and Z resources. So that's a pretty exciting thing because it's a more streamlined version of what we're kind of already doing with Clean Sweep, but now we're going to have a little bit more data to back up what we're trying to do. And that's going to play really a large role in the beautification and restoration process. So we'll go to the next slide here. By surveying community members and asking them questions regarding their perceptions of their community, we are hoping to find certain frequencies in the datum that we can then use to initiate beautification and equitable restorative practices. By looking at the data and understanding how it fits within each community, we really want to hone in on that idea of equitable restorative practices. Before equality comes, you must have equity. Otherwise, it's still going to be unequal if everything's treated equally. So by looking at these data, we can pinpoint areas that have been most impacted by blight, socioeconomic inequity, and all of the other targeted things that we're looking for during Clean Sweep. And by providing them with resources, we're trying to targeted resources based off the data. We're then trying to be able to give them, provide these restorative practices moving forward, which will allow us to create a more equitable environment for the city of Buffalo, always moving towards that overreaching goal of equality, but equity has to come first. So we go to the next slide. How does this datum fit within Clean Sweep? So as has been stated in the previous slides, one of the overarching motifs of Clean Sweep is to construct narratives through data. Clean Sweep is this really interesting project that we're able to do with community partners, city hall officials, and now other partners in different states too, which is even more wonderful. Our goal is it's this weird project where we're able to have hard data in conjunction with listening to the stories and listening to what people are telling us during Clean Sweep. It's one of those rare projects where you have both of those, and the city of Buffalo is the perfect place to be able to conduct a project like that. We're not called the city of good neighbors for no reason. So what we're able to do is use this data that we'll be collecting along with the interactions that we have with these individualized interactions that we're having with community members in order to construct narratives of what we're seeing. It's not that we're not trying to make this data so black and white and so cold looking. There already are these perceptions of data as this high frequency number type of analyzation that can be a little bit difficult to understand. But by then taking the data and implementing it within these narratives and these stories that we're hearing from people in the city of Buffalo, we're able to pinpoint these frequencies and occurrences and really, really focus in on what we can do moving forward to create a more equitable environment for all individuals within the city of Buffalo.
Just want to shout out, I think that's Linda from Ashland Avenue Block Club. So just want to shout out to our block club people.
Yep. And then by utilizing data collected directly from community members, we have the unique opportunity to measure these occurrences. And by measuring said occurrences, we will able to address them through equitable measures. I think the new slogan for Clean Sweep should be equity must come before equality, especially with this data that we're going to be collecting. So here's to a great Clean Sweep season. We all look forward to working together this year and welcome new and current Clean Sweep partners. We cannot do this without you. Every year, I think we say that, but it's more and more true as we're moving forward. So thank you to all. And I think Oz and I are now going to open up for a Q&A in case there are questions.
Good. Alan, thank you very much. We're going to open up for questions real quick, but let me also say this. We are having continued meetings. So tomorrow we're going to be meeting with our enforcement partners and some city partners. And then I plan to have a meeting to talk about, there's the day of Clean Sweep and then there's the aftercare, the follow-up. And so we're going to be reaching out to some of you in terms of how do we follow back up, once we do a Clean Sweep, whether it's setting up a block or whether it's putting residents together with a community-based organization, or and then also opening up the door for volunteerism, right? And so we have several groups and organizations that have already talked with us. We have an AmeriCorps Vista who's going to be handling some cleanups and volunteers and all of those different things. So a lot of things going on at one time, but we know that that is very much part of the Clean Sweep. It's this beautiful kind of orchestra of community partners that are making a difference in the community. So thank you very much. We are going to open up to partners. If so, Colin, you can take this down so we can see everybody. They kind of wave and raise their hands or unmute. So any quick questions? And so, hey, Miss Ada, I think she was just waving us to say hi. Okay. Any quick questions? I thought I heard somebody say something, a quick question. No. Yes.
Actually, two questions. Any idea when you think these might start up? That's the first question. And last year, when you had the modified Clean Sweeps, you tried to limit the number of partners from each organization to only one. I mean, we're fortunate that we, can have two people. Are you still going to do it that way, or one person or two people, or any thoughts on that?
Being that some restrictions are being lifted, we're allowing each group to have two partners. I mean, two individuals. And so I think that's important because as we go on one side of the street and go on another side of the street, we're going to need that. We are still going to lean on that model where we're going to have our community leads. So I'm looking at Debbie, and I'm looking at Dana and a few other people. And so we're going to meet with you as well. We're also going to have, I'm just excited and grateful for my partner in the Division of Housing and I see Joanne Kearns and I see Yvonne, that along our partnership, we're going to have a housing agency that works with the city of Buffalo and the community that be partnering along with us as well. We have a whole host of initiatives that we have been announcing. We're going to continue to announce from the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency and the city of Buffalo. And so there's day-to-day things that are happening that we want to make sure that people, if they have the opportunity, if it's within their health, to get vaccinated. We want to make sure there's a special emphasis on getting to those individuals who those people who are renting, who may have challenges in terms of income and paying their rent. So we have programs for that, and we're going to go on the ground and make sure we do that. And so there's a whole host of different things that we're going to do along the way. And we may even plant a tree while we're there too, so there's a lot of activity that's happening in that respect too. So great question, Debbie. You said you had another
start date. Any idea about when this might start, or no?
Like this Wednesday. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that to you. I won't do that to you. Our target date is on the 19th. So the 19th, and so within the next day, you should be getting an email. Just to kind of go back, Eleanor talked a little bit about that. So we have most of our Clean Sweep areas pretty much set. We've allowed to use the data to help us inform some areas and sort of metrics of different things. You've been hearing this nationally, let the science speak or let the information speak. We're going to do that in Buffalo. We're still going to continue to listen to our partners. There are going to be some areas that we have not gone into, and I know some people are excited about that. There may be probably, I would say, there will be a large percentage of areas that we have not gone into, and then there's going to be a large percentage of areas that we've gone into probably once within the past 5 years or 5 or 4 years. So we do intend to try to hit, every councilmatic area. There might be one that we may not, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. When we talk about the issue of equity, we want to go into those areas that have been disproportionately affected. And so we know that that's what we're going to do, and we're going to concentrate on that too. So any other quick questions as we, I know time is, I may give you back 15 minutes of your time. Any other quick questions?
This is Tracy with the Smile team. I was able to join the meeting on my phone in my car. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
My
Tracy.
question is, hi, are we trying to keep it to, are we getting back to our regular schedule? I know last year the pandemic threw everybody for a loop, and it would be week to week. We might be on a Wednesday, we might be on a Friday, we might be in the afternoon. Are we trying to go back to, at least for the partners that need to work it into their work schedule, the consistent Wednesday mornings?
Great. That's a great question, Debbie. Thank you very much. So we do have at least the next 10 clean sweeps planned out. We will let you know the date. It will be on Wednesdays, definitely on Wednesdays. What we will do is there'll be one week out of the month where we'll probably double up. But what we'll do is tell you that ahead of time. And so we're in the process of putting a memo to you guys right now to let you know it's Wednesdays. There may be a fluctuation once we get a routine. There may be one of those Wednesdays where we may start, and you'll notice ahead of time, we'll start in the morning, but we may start an afternoon, right? Just to get that. So the idea here is we won't pop up in this, hey, we're doing the clean sweep at 12. We're going to have a little more coordination on our end on when to do that too. So the good thing is that we already have clean sweeps picked out, so we don't have to wait and hear about that. Tomorrow we have a clean sweep. We have a meeting with our internal partners, police and public works and all of those, to talk about manpower and talk about when we get there, we got to make sure that people are there or it's not waiting, but you guys are you'll do it without them, but we want to make sure that everybody's doing that together. So great question with that. And so Colin is writing notes, and we're going to make sure we get that to you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I love the way we did the bags. Yes, last season, where we was able to drop off, or Colin or someone was able to pick up. Are we going to be able to do that again?
You're talking about these bags?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we will. We're going to coordinate a schedule where you can either drop off to the extent that we can kind of pre-populate those bags ahead of time. We're going to do that. We do know that, on the day of, some people are just sticking things in, and you guys are pretty good about that too. But we will arrange an opportunity. Colin, did you want to mention anything?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're ready to go and you're super excited for it and you got some literature already ready, I'll be in City Hall tomorrow. So if you would like to drop it off, I will be there to pick it up outside the Division of Citizen Services. Just because ideally I'd like to start bagging sooner rather than later, so we're ready to go. But yeah, if you're able to do that, that's absolutely wonderful. And then I think moving forward, we'll obviously have to get the schedule more adjusted. But if I need more literature, if I can get it by like the Monday before the clean sweep on a Wednesday, and I can do that. But if you can drop it off this week, that's awesome. I'll be in City Hall all week.
Another question, sorry. Are you interested in new partners? I met someone at an event the other day, and she has some very helpful information that I think would be great for for our neighborhood. Do you want me to share her contact information with you, or are you not?
Please, no, please, can you? We are looking for new partners. I mean, we're going to get very innovative with this. I'm in contact with one of our health providers that if we can do vaccination while we're out here, that's what we're going to do. You know, if we can help, you know, in that respect too. So I'm excited. While we're there, we're gonna, you know, we're gonna give them the full treatment. As you heard me say, we're gonna bring the rain. Well, we're gonna bring the sunshine. How about that? Any other quick questions or long questions? Good, good. So I will be available and Colin will make ourselves available all this week and email or call, and we'll follow up with you. Look out for some emails and memos that are going to be coming from myself or Colin in terms of moving forward, in terms of where we're at. Again, just excited about the partnerships. We will put a list together. We've already kind of put a list together of who's partnering, and we've put them in different groups. You know, some are doing outreach, some are outreach in health, employment, and other areas, and we'll share that with you as well too. So good. Anything else that we can kind of talk about? You know what? I am so proud. I'm giving you back 8 minutes. So good. Excited about you know, everything and kind of coming on board. Again, please let us know about everything. And not this Wednesday, but we'll see you next Wednesday with everything too. And so we'll be following up with you all this week. Colin, any last words?
Let's get ready for clean sweep, everyone.
Yay.
All right. All right, guys. Take care. All right. See, I don't need to know music with Colin. We're good to go. Okay. All right, guys. Take care and have a great rest of your week. Okay, hold on. Pembra still. Okay. Okay. Good meeting.
Yeah, that was good.
Good. So we have some follow-up. So we have tomorrow's meeting that we have to do, very similar. I actually would like to invite folks from Harvard as well, because these
Okay.
are harder internal, so make sure they come to that meeting. Some quick follow-ups here is I'm okay with setting out a schedule. If you can put a memo together to set out a schedule of Wednesdays, you know, what time we
Yeah.
would do the Zoom and then what time that we would go in. The Zoom can be early in the morning and then we go to that spot. We can also tell them the expectation of when they would know where they're going. You know, we can kind of let them know ahead of time, a day ahead of time, and say this is where we're going to be at, how we're going to do that, and how we're going to coordinate that. And walk sheets we have to get together regarding that. So all this week. Well, you're here this week, right? No, you're not here this week.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here this week up until Friday.
Okay.
So my plan was today I'm going to work from home, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm just going to be in City Hall from 9 to whatever time we finish.
Okay. All right. So I think important, the big thing here is just letting everyone know in terms of an expectation. So let's get a schedule together. We got Wednesdays. We said we're going to send that out. We already know the areas that we're going to do in.
Yep.
I do have to send something very similar to the council people saying, hey, we're doing clean sweeps. This is our methodology. Usually I let the council people tell us the areas that they're going in.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. It's going to be a very similar email saying we're announcing clean sweep. This is when we're starting. Love for you to be invited to come in your respective districts. A lot of times they will sponsor lunch Um, and then they will find a location. So let me say this, and this is a decision that we have to think about, whatever. We're going to do it virtually. We're going to meet at some point in time. What we usually do, you haven't been there, we usually find a community center or something there. We meet there early in the morning, bring everything, and then go from that center or that church or that place, and we go to the clean sweeps.
Yeah.
I
think at some point we can get there.
Yeah,
like
we're
I
not.
would absolutely love to do that. That sounds amazing. But I think for the first couple at least,
Yeah,
we
I
should
think so.
probably stick with the virtual stuff, but then like kind of start to phase it in, depending on, you know, vaccinations and how people. I feel like
Yeah,
most
yeah.
people that we've talked with have gotten vaccinated anyways at this point.
So I
Yeah.
think the memo to the Common Council members are very similar to the memos that we have. We're just going to switch it up. We're going to introduce clean sweeps. Thank you. We're going to tell them that we were successful in doing 10 of them in the impacted COVID area.
Yep.
From my office, some citizen services. We also did Love Your Block grants and a few other things. You can say that.
Yep.
And then, so this year we're going to be starting clean sweeps. Our first one is here, and we can. We're partnering with Harvard. We're using data metrics to help us determine the clean sweeps and looking at the issue of equity and need in those communities, allowing data to help us drive the areas that we're moving into. We have made a commitment to making sure that we try to go into each of the councilman districts, but we may be going in more based upon need. And this is just letting them know that we're inviting each council member and their staff to be there and say, hey, in the beginning, we're not going to meet in the beginning of the community. So a little later on, we may ask you to help support for our gathering for, either lunch or pre-breakfast. But for this first month, because of the COVID, we're going to be relaxing that. So this is my entry just to let them know this is what we're doing.
Okay. I'll get those both written up to you and sent out. Hopefully we'll be able to send those out today.
Yeah, we will be.
Yeah. And you're gonna be pretty busy, right? Today.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
But I will be available. I will be here. I have a budget hearing that we don't know when I'm having. I'm onboarding 2 vistas, and I'll be around. I will be here. So if you send me something, I'll try to get to it.
Wonderful. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Oz.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.